all the way back, baby.
Yeah, and if we say book your hotel, you book your hotel. But my lord, I have soiled myself.
You mean by live? Genuine live? Hello, radio!
And now, another episode of The Way We HNC. They think it's all over. It is now. Regular season of the BAFA Flag National Flag Football League is in the books. It's in the bin. My microphone is turned on. Burke and Cammy are here too, and we are ready to discuss the biggest weekend in British regular season flag football history. It's a bit convoluted, but if we're honest, so is the premise of the show. Gentlemen, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you once again after our separate previews, but once again we are together as a trio, and
The three best friends that anyone could have.
it's been a little while, but things are good. How are you both after a big weekend in Manchester? Cammy, how are the legs?
Legs are fine, mate.
How is the
Man,
brain? How are the
man,
arms?
Mentally shattered after a long week of Commonwealth Games, but you know what? Had a really good weekend. Had a lot of fun. It was nice to see everybody. It was nice to see some good football. Weather was atrocious, but c'est la vie.
I guess that is just the way it is. And yeah, Burke, back in.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling it. I had a bit of extracurricular activities outside of Super Weekend, so definitely was feeling the body on the Monday morning as I flew back over. But yeah, week's over now, and excited looking ahead to Flagapalooza before we do anything else. So
Yeah, Flagapalooza just on the horizon. Cammy took care of the draw on Tuesday night. So if you are attending Flagapalooza and you haven't seen who's in your group and who you're going to be playing, what rock have you been living under? Go check that out on the Flagapalooza Facebook page, Instagram, and both our Instagram and Facebook. That's all already there for you in a couple of weeks' time. And next weekend, knockout football in Chiswick
God.
and Carlisle.
Carlisle.
And Chiswick. Yeah, we'll have knockout football in Division 1 and the Premiership because Super Weekend was effectively knockout football in the National, so we won't see any more National League play until it's Flag in a Stadium in September. But there's still 8 tickets to be punched to Coventry. So we're going to begin with Division 1 and then move on up from there. So obviously we had a bunch of stuff already clinched, but I don't think, no specific seeds were clinched on the way in. Just a couple of people had already decided they were going. They were able to book their hotels. And I guess, Tammy, if we start, No, the South went first, actually. I think the South finished. So let's start in the
South was on Saturday.
South, because they were all done and dusted on Saturday, along with, South East didn't, Southwest didn't. One of them didn't, but mostly
Southwest was the Sunday.
Southwest was the Sunday, but most of them were taken care of. So yeah, we'll start down south, I think, because there were some interesting ones. Northeast, we had a little bit of a kind of a damp. Southeast, had a bit of a damp squib because we lost the Blitz. But other than that, we had a very interesting final day because the Raptors beating the Marauders and then the Marauders getting their win over the Wolfpack did lead to a division championship. The Marauders did just enough 12-5, but second and third place were 12-6. With the Exiles in 10-8, with the Renegades 5-12-1, the Wolfpack 4-14, and the London Blitz 2-14-1, which unfortunately cost us our sandwich.
It
It did unfortunately cost us our sandwich, but if we look over in the southwest, the Falcons ran out 16-1. The Gators and the Kings both took care of business on the final day. 15-2, 14-3, followed by the Red Kites at 3-14, the Frenzy at 2-15, and the Cardiff Bay Coyotes last because of a forfeit on 4-12. So as we go into the playoffs, Matt, how do you kind of look at the D1 South season as on a whole, do you think?
I think it's still pushed up the narrative we were going for about improving play across the board. There is obviously going to be some rogue results. There is going to be some thumpings, but we've had some incredible games as well, especially when me and Cammy touched on it last time with the Hail Mary to see the Gators through and clinch. I think it's just been nice to see all these teams playing more meaningful games and bring us a bit more of a better product across the year. Going to a few of the game days, it was great to watch some of these teams that sometimes, like from my experience when I've been playing or when it was the two divisions, haven't really had a chance and don't really get to enjoy the game. And this year, I'm seeing so many more, like I say, games where they're in and more energy, more enjoyment. And I think that's done exactly what it was aimed to do.
Nice.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it's a theme that'll come up. Like, I think no matter how many divisions you have, there's always going to be people that are borderline and therefore well clear of the others in their division. But yeah, you could split the league into 7 tiers, I think, and you would still have that. You know, even in the national, there's only 12 teams. The difference between first and last is significant. The Prem will be the same. D1 will be the same. So, but I do think that obviously the more you have, the kind of the better spread we have in Southwest. Yeah, sure, it's definitely an outlier. We thought we were going to get a sandwich, but obviously the 3 teams we thought would qualify have now qualified. And yeah, semi-finals: Falcons, Marauders, Gators will play the Roosters, who are a South team from the Midlands North Sea vortex of confusion. The Nottingham Honey Badgers are exactly the same. They're going to play the Panthers B, while the Lincolnshire Longhorns will take on the Keynsham Kings. And yeah, as a reminder, if you win your first game, you just have to win one of the next 2, and you'll be a Premiership team next year. The final 2 will be invited to Coventry to play whoever comes out. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. And then in the plate, there's some kind of interesting one. Shout out the Red Kites debut season, making it in as the final plate team as it stands. I know that there's potentially some going on about all that, but
good news for Wales.
Good news for Welsh flag. Flag Football Wales, I'm sure, will be very excited about it and making a detailed graphic about this very soon. Rebels B versus the Bucks Wolfpack Nottingham Bears were in the hunt for the championship playoffs the whole season, and the last day just slipped out. So they'll play the Berkshire Renegades, not the Renfrewshire Raptors, the Isle of Wight Raptors will play the Red Kites, while the Exiles will take on the Huntsmen B on that playoff day, subject to everyone's attendance being confirmed. While in the north, close to home, for Cammy and I, we had quite the thrilling day to finish it all.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
So yeah, coming into the day, as I know you guys discussed, the 3-way battle for Murray, Glasgow, and Aberdeen was still fully on the table. Obviously, Murray had the leg up, but the other 2 were breathing down their neck, and recent results would certainly suggest that while it was a leg up for Murray, it wasn't exactly a slam dunk for them. But they did get a huge win, 33-26 over the Killer Bees, which saw them rolling, and then they secured their division title with a game to go 60-0 over 67-0. Actually, there's an error on the I missed a touchdown on the graphic. 67-0 to emphatically secure their HNC Division 1 title, and then went into what by all accounts was an absolute thriller of a game with the Aberdeen Silvercats, and with the Silvercats getting out 41-34 winner, and that will come into play in a little minute because they might be one of the hottest teams in Division 1 that didn't win their division. Because they're now on an 8-game winning streak. So, while they were third in their division, they came from all the way back. Well, not all the way back. They were never really that far back, but they certainly have put together a winning streak. And if they can go 2-1 in the right order over the next weekend, then they'll be a Premiership team. So good luck to them. Obviously a little bit biased, but yeah, good luck to them. And I don't know if you saw this one, Cammy. Last game day of the season, 2 favourites of the show went head-to-head in the North B season. The only intra-club rivalry we've really been interested for this year is, of course, Choo Choo, the Calderdale Locomotives, versus the Iron Horses.
Iron Horses run free.
And the Iron Horses have not only won to go 25-34, they're actually the first team in the plate division, which means should a championship team withdraw and everybody move up one, they will have the chance at Premiership promotion.
That's wild.
So yeah, there we go. I think they'll be the highest ranked new team this year, although I'm sure I haven't looked that up, so maybe if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be shouted at. But yes, Steel River Stingrays were the ones, obviously, that I mentioned earlier and got the wrong way around. They have won their division title on a tie-break over the Roosters. No, over the West Yorkshire Warthogs. So they will both be in attendance on semi-final day, along with the Lancashire Bombers, who won with a game day to go, 16-0, undefeated team. The Ravens and the Wirral Vikings also made it in there, alongside the HNC, who are also standing 3 with Murray, Glasgow and Aberdeen. What has become the usual trio in the HNC Division 1. They are heading to Carlisle.
They've had a good little triangle for a while now. It's a bit like we were talking about the Moray game. Bees had the ball to win it. Went for a Hail Mary. I believe Young was injured and something happened. I'm not 100% sure on the finer detail. Ball to win, 1-score game. And if they won that, I think they would have got top of the table, which is it's exactly what we want. We want, I know obviously I am biased because it is the second team of the team that I play for, but that's Div 1 football is fucking class.
Yeah, it is class. And what is actually quite cool is there was a point where I think with 1 week to go, the playoff picture was Distillers Ravens play the winner of Aberdeen and Glasgow.
Yeah.
But because of all the results and the way they went, they have now split out. So while the Distillers and the Silver Cats are on the same side of the bracket, Glasgow are on the other side. So at least there will be a little bit of variety, at least in the first round of the Northern semi-finals. So the Murray Distillers will play the Manchester Ravens, and there's a surprising link between those two teams in that Dave Underwood it used to play with the Crows way back. So surprisingly, a lot of them know each other. And then there's also the Stingrays and the Silver Cats. They will progress on their side of the bracket, with the Bombers and the Vikings playing each other in the first round. Warthogs and Killer Bees playing each other for eventually a place in the final. And just as a note for social media, that does mean that should results go their way and everything work out, we could have the second Matt Wilkinson Bowl of the season in the final of the Northern D1 semi-finals, which I'm sure you would all agree would be the most electrifying game we have ever seen. So
how describe to me best how electrifying this is.
Unheard of. So if we have to repeat the game from earlier on, I'm sure social media would be a buzz. So yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. That is one potential outcome. Obviously, Distillers and Bombers are going in as the top seeds, but I wouldn't like to call how the Northern bracket breaks. But yeah, so 3 of those 8 teams will be in the Premiership next year. We just don't know yet, but we'll find out next Saturday. While in the plate, I did make a mistake in the graphic, which caused a little bit of confusion, but it has all been rectified. The Gunslingers Red will play the Titans Tridents, the Centurions Gold will play the Stockport Sentinels, another new team that has made a plate, which is great to see. The Iron Horses, obviously a new team, the second team, they've made it. They'll play the Gunslingers Blue, and the Locomotives will play the Giants Iron, which does mean that we could have a knockout football Calderdale derby.
That's hilarious.
Which is objectively hilarious for the semi-final of the Northern Plate. So that's all going down in Carlisle next week, and obviously the ones in the south.
Yeah, I was going to say you touched on it a little bit there with the matchups going into the final week, where it was kind of in-division opponents. It's the same for the south. We were looking at a Kings Gators matchup, and then all of a sudden, with the way these results have gone, everyone's now split off into different brackets now, so we're not getting repeats of the divisional games.
Yeah, which I think is good. Like, obviously,
we want variety.
And if divisions are going to send 3 of 8, then you're going to play. The odds are you're going to play each other at some point. But at least in the first round, playing someone, even if you played them, in the south they've played everyone just about, other than the Roosters and the Badgers being slight outliers. But the southern teams have played each other, even cross conference. The north teams have done the same, but for the HNC teams, that's different. That'll be new for them. So I'm sure
it just makes it way more like. Upset-wise, a third-ranked team in one division, a third-seeded team in one division compared to a first-ranked team in another division could be completely separate. Like, we don't know the levels that we're playing at. We don't know the teams that we're playing against. Like, it's much more exciting than playing fourth in your division, for example.
Yeah. And
I much prefer that.
And I think it's good. I'm glad it's broken. It has broken out that way.
Yeah, cross-conference football is important.
Yeah, for sure. So, and it's a bit more. It's a bit more appetizing, isn't it? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
If you've got to go, if you've got to go from Elgin and Inverness to Carlisle, it's probably better if you're not playing Aberdeen in the first round. So, and I'm sure the guys in the south feel exactly the same. Like if you're just playing your neighbours, then you have to go all the way. It's probably better to at least play somebody relatively new. So we'll see how it all goes, and good luck, and we'll cover that next Saturday the best that we can. And I guess Matt will come South Prem, because there's some decent storylines in the South Prem. London Spark, much like their club mates the London Fire, on the final day preserve their division status with quite a miraculous escape to stay up, but they did obviously condemn the Tiger Sharks. But moving on to the 8-team regional semi-final, the Norwich Nomads, Coventry Panthers, Coventry Phoenix, London Rebels, Victoria Park Panthers, North Ants, Titans Blue. The dream lives. The prediction was way off. Did say they might not lose. They did lose 7 times, but right. Don't worry. I'm aware of my own poor takes. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, but we get hassled for saying that the Kirkcaldy Cup's going to not move one. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up.
Oh, we'll come on to that. Don't you worry.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you worry. Well, that to be TBD on the Kirkcaldy Cup. Yes, Cardiff Storm did what they needed to do on the last day, as did the Buckinghamshire Wolves, which has led to, quite frankly, some very, very interesting matchups. And one of them, I think, Cammy, jumped out to you right away when we worked it all out. So we've got the Panthers and the Storm, the Phoenix and the Blue, Titans Blue, Nomads Wolves, and your pick of the round, Cammy, Rebels versus Victoria Park Panthers.
Yep. Tabor's coming back. VPP have they started really strong, kind of rift in the middle, and then they came back a little bit stronger towards the end, but I think that's going to be a great game. London Derby, innit?
Yeah, and the winner plays Norwich.
I didn't check the VPP Norwich results before I say any more about that, but
And then Matt, on the other side, I guess we've got Panthers versus Storm, Phoenix versus Titans Blue. Some
I was just making sure I had it correct. I just want to I know again we're talking about being a homer. I want to give the Storm credit for completely turning it around the last 2 games. They were down the bottom 3 and 7, down and out, and then to finish 8 and 8 is a great recovery and puts them right in form going in at the right time going into the finals, giving themselves a shout. And we were talking about, I think me and Cammy touched on it briefly, but we also talked about it in house. Is if you're going to finish in the bottom 4 of the 8, you're going to be playing a top team no matter what. So just getting in that position was
Go
important.
out swinging.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like I don't want to touch on the national too much, but it was the same as the Fire coming out. Like when we were going up to play against them, we were like, these guys are on like a streak at the minute. Like I'm not going to say much about the Hornets weekend and our performance being lackluster or otherwise, but like that's like if you want to like build momentum going through that, like that's the exact way to do it. Like there's nothing better than coming into a playoff run on a hot streak. Just like people don't expect you to win, they think, oh, you're lower seed than us. Like just go out swinging. Like there's absolutely no like embarrassment about just being like, fuck it, we'll take a pop. Like we'll boom or bust. And I think the Cardiff Storm could have a bit of a what we would call an upset, but I quite like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these. On you go.
Yeah, just a common theme across the Prem this year has been like availability in the squads and whether they're at their full strength. So some results have been misleading, or going in, if you were trying to look at a team, if you've got them in the first round of the bracket and go, oh, how did they fare against these teams? It's not a fair reflection on what you might face going into that final.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think a lot of I was just going to say there, I think a lot of in all of them, like the 2-7 matchups or like the 3-6 matchups. Yeah, like if you're only looking at standings and seedings, then you might kind of fall into the trap of thinking like, okay, it's relatively easy, but it's at the end of the day, lower ranked teams on a heater are just as dangerous as confident high ranking teams. So I think Storm Panthers. I think actually all of these games are really good and really interesting. And no matter how the day breaks, like the way the bracket's set up, like it's not a prediction, but I think that if the semi-final to make it to Coventry was Nomads Rebels on that side of the bracket, sound. I'm quite happy with that game. But then at the same time, like if it's VPP Wolves or Nomads or Rebels versus Wolves, like it's all good. The concept of a Coventry derby to be promoted, the narrative, the storyline, the Coventry Championship to give, well, not to be promoted, sorry, but to go to Coventry and give yourself the chance at promotion to the national. That's delicious as well.
So, Rebels VPP going to Nomads. Every single one of that Triangles games this year, bar one, has been a one-score game.
Yep, they're all super tight. They're all super tight together, yeah.
I don't know who's coming out on top of that.
And with the Phoenix, Storm, Panthers, they've all beat each other.
Yep.
You could do one of those graphics that does like the circle round of beating each other.
Yeah. The circle of parity exists in the south. So that's it's going to be pretty exciting, and I think the north to an extent might be as well. It's broken a little bit more regional, not completely, but it's broken a little bit more regional. Blackhawks Serpents being the kind of the outlier. That game will play the winner of the Centurions and Raptors, whereas on the other side, the Huntsmen will play the Bandits and the Steel will play the Scorpions. Huntsmen, obviously, in North B, undefeated. Blackhawks, champions of North A, kind of got well away from the Centurions by the end. And the Raptors kind of sneaking in there as well. But yeah, I mean, all of these teams we're used to seeing in various playoffs. The Prem in the North has done all right. Like Huntsmen, obviously, that was one of the conversations at the start of the year about whether or not promoted from Div 1 to the Premiership team could compete to make it into the National. They are right there, as are the Raptors, as are the Giant Steel. So, and the Centurions as well, of course. So they're all right there with an opportunity. But yeah, I think pre-season, Cammy, you called Blackhawks Huntsmen as the final of this. Are you?
I'm pretty confident on it. Like it's Blackhawks started like after that was in the season preview, and then the Blackhawks went out and did
week one.
It wasn't a great week one for them, but they came back howling. And I think going by the score, they made a bit of tough work of the last game day as well. I don't see why not. Like they've comfortably dealt with. I think the only hiccup could be the Serpents. Like what I spoke about earlier is cross-division games. You've never played these people before. I'm sure that both teams are doing their film. There's going to be film out there that they'll be able to get hold of. And then if the Blackhawks can get over that bump, They've taken care of both the Centurions and the Raptors quite convincingly
all season.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think the only thing that's stopping the Blackhawks to get to the final is the Blackhawks.
The only thing to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and on the other side, equally, you could say to the Huntsmen the same. They've played the three teams on their side, the other three teams on their side of the bracket as well, so they'll be coming in confident. And yeah, as a reminder, it's the final two teams in here that will go to Coventry, and then the final two in Coventry that will be promoted to the national. So you can't be promoted on semi-final day, but you can be removed from contention. Yeah, so North 1 will play South 2, and that's decided by the final, not seeding. So, so the final match here, you've both made it to Coventry. They'll play each other in the semi-final, and then the winner of that game will be North 1, and you'll play South 2. So the final game is a battle for seeding in Coventry.
Nice.
And because all of the games are both game days are on Saturday and they're both simultaneous, it will be a matter of, like, you don't know who you're trying to gain or avoid or whatever. You just play the game and you get who you get in September.
It's quite a fresh experience for Huntsmen. Haven't played fair enough. They've played in playoffs before. They know that. Blackhawks haven't been in playoffs for a while, if I remember correctly, or a serious contender. Phil's probably going to kill me for saying that, but fine. But it's quite a fresh experience. I think all the teams, like, as Kobe said, job's not done. Like, you just need to focus on what's in front of you at the time, get over the hump that you need to get at. The objective is get to Coventry, much like we've seen quite a few of the national teams do. That's not an excuse for how much he performed. Sorry, shut up, Cammy. It's just get to Coventry. That's all you need to do this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like you say, like, because of the split now in the top 12 are in the national from 2025 are in the national. The teams that we're looking at now in terms of the Bandits, the Scorpions, and the Raptors in particular, when they were in the old Prem, they were always, the Raptors especially were probably one of the teams that we coined the phrase yo-yo team for, because they were too good for D1 every single time, but they couldn't keep pace in the national. Well, the Prem as it was. So their experience of playoffs is obviously based upon on D1, just like the Huntsmen. The Huntsmen obviously had great success last year, as obviously in the other side did, like did the Nomads and the Panthers and the Phoenix, and all the teams that got themselves into the Prem out of the old Division 1. So yeah, really, really interesting to see how that kind of plays out, because they are kind of knockout football as experience has been a little bit different. But I mean, at the same time, it's not like Newcastle haven't. Newcastle travel well, their players travel well, they play all over the place. So
well seasoned, like they've been all over the shop this year.
So yeah, they might not. The club might not have played domestic playoffs super recently, but yeah, it's not like they're not used to playing sudden death games on Sundays, even though this will be on Saturday. So that's all still to come, and I guess that means it's time to take a look at Super Weekend. So, pardon? What?
I didn't hear you.
So, well, I guess I asked you this during the week when we were chatting. So, I guess I'll ask Matt the same question. So, Matt, I'm going to ask you like three questions. One, how do you think you guys did as a team? Number two, what did you experience? How was your experience at Super Weekend? And number three, in terms of an addition to the league, how did it go, do you think?
To answer the first question, I think from our perspective, enough. There's still plenty to do, but we did enough. For me individually, with the way the weekend's structured, obviously I play ever in any tournament that you tell me to go to. So to be honest, for me it was like the usual, understanding the premise, and knowing you have to do well on the second day. And then in terms of like the product, again, I think I'm a little biased because I'm used to it, but I know a lot of the guys found it tough because they weren't used to the back-to-back in such intensity and playing in 20 minutes as well. Because, I say about these tournaments, we're playing rolling clock 12-minute halves, and this is BAFA 20 minutes with stoppages, and you've got three teams that, and we've talked about this, touched on the situations earlier with like the fire and stuff. You've got teams that are in situations where they have to win and they have to take you to the sword. Otherwise they lose their status in the national. So I think it was a lot for people that don't play the tournaments and play 2 days in a row for the intensity. But I know we spoke about it in Discord and such. The results, some surprising results carrying over. I thought it was quite interesting, and I mean the Prem and Div 1 guys seem to enjoy seeing the results come in and go crazy over some upsets, if you will. So I think it did well. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great addition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, can I guess have the same questions with a microphone this time.
Well, from a personal perspective, I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of, like, fair enough, I've been to umpteen tournaments this year and played 12-minute clocks, and it's been gone and fast, much like Matt said. But like, it reminded me of like a Champions Bowl setup where serious is there's no beers on the sideline, there's no a wee ball. There is, you go and you go hard, like, and that aspect a lot. I think, well, so from the past 5 years, only Glasgow, Cardiff, and London have been to Champs Bowl. Like, nobody's really experienced it on that level. Fair enough, there's a few players dotted around that we could say have gone to IFAF tournaments and stuff, but to that intensity with so much on the line, yeah, as an addition to the league, I still am adamant it needs to change in the calendar. I think a lot of teams were a bit lackluster towards the end because of the outcome. Fair enough, like teams like the Neptunes were still trying to escape the jaws of death, but I think it just, all teams would play a lot harder. There's a lot more on the line. Like, after game one, the Hornets knew, okay, we're in the final. We can't, regardless of whatever happens the rest of the weekend, we are going to Coventry. Fine. Nothing can change that. Like, it didn't really matter to us after that. So I think it needs to change in the calendar when it is. I think, and as a result of that scenario, I think it felt a lot more like teams played down rather than played up. We want a spectacle. We want a performance of the best playing against the best. We want teams rising against each other rather than dropping to each other's standards, which is what I felt, especially on the Sunday, kind of what happened. So I love the idea of it. I think it needs tweaked. But this is the first year of the National. I'm not expecting BAFA to get this right on day one. I think we, much like what the rant that I went on in the previous episode, we change when it is in the calendar, we make it smack bang in the middle, and then we go from there. I still think that's a better idea.
I think my opposing view to you on that one is, when I was sat at the end of the Saturday and I was looking at the table, if you weren't in the top four, you were still mathematically possible to be eliminated. Everyone was within 2 games or 3 games of each other. I think it was obviously Smoke, yourselves, us, and Reading were 10 plus wins, and everyone else was, I think, 4 to 6 or 4 to 7. And
it was racing to get to 6 was pretty much the yeah.
So any one of them could come down, and then also because they're playing the north-south split, it was a bit different because what we were saying about playing people you've never played before, I think that just added a bit of, like, I know, again, the level varied because of people coping and availability in that sense and the intensity, but I think that was the exciting part, was like all these teams had to play and had to win, because if they didn't, there was a really, really easy chance they were out of the national.
I agree and I disagree. I'm going purely from my elitist bias and playing for one of the top teams, but I think it would be much cooler to see London, Cardiff, Glasgow and Reading go at each other's throats to try and fight for that 1 seed, and try and, relegation battles are, like, it probably means more to the teams, I'd agree, but seeing the highest of the high, literally toe for toe, blow for blow, like just fight each other to the death, would, to try and get that 1 seed. And like, Hornets are going to have to run a gauntlet. We need to go through 2 teams that beat us the past weekend if we want to go for the 3-peat.
I was going to say, my argument to that would be, when you kicked off against the Spoke, the 1 seed was still available.
It was, yeah. But
so to say that, like, it couldn't, like, to say that there was nothing on the line, I don't I don't know about, like, yeah, you'd made it to Coventry, but if it's about the 1 seed, then it was still on the line. And then I don't know. I feel like on Saturday night there was 2 wins between 5th and 11th. So you've got, and obviously 12th place were 3 games from 5th, sorry. So yeah, okay, they would never have made it to 4th, but 6, 7 to 3 and 10. Like, yeah, I think having 8, I think I'm okay with having 8 teams, and obviously results are results, right? And like it might not play like that every year, but I think having 8 teams in jeopardy is fine, even if like the top 2 are set. Because like, when was when did you play the Hurricanes?
First thing on
First thing
Sun-
on Sunday. So like
Yeah.
there was an hour or 2 on Sunday where you guys were like down to 3, and then the Hurricanes did something inexplicable, saved the Titans from relegation, and decided that actually, nah, we don't want to call the coin toss in Coventry. It went back to 3rd. So I think I'm okay with like 8 team jeopardy. And even like at the end of the day, the Devils only took 4th by 1 win. You know, like they're 7 and 6. They are 7 and
was on the
6,
ropes as
and
well.
5th place is 6 and 7. You know, on Saturday night, and then yeah, obviously it all shakes out on Sunday, and they are clear. Okay, you know, you've got 16 and 0, 13 and 3, 12 and 4, 10 and 6, and then 8 and 8. But then 6 and 10, 6 and 10, 6 and 10, 6 and 10, 5 and 11, 5 and 11.
Yeah.
Team getting relegated on the head-to-head. Sorry, on head-to-head, and obviously Edinburgh. Tough season for them, given their numbers. But
yeah, something I do want to touch on as well is the North-South Ryder Cup.
belt to ass.
Like, it was a really good, like, I think it was so. I'm really, really surprised about Edinburgh. I don't mean this personally to any of them, because like I love all of them and I'm good friends with quite a few of them. I'm really disappointed with their season. Like, if the Outlaws of last year played at cross conference, I think it's a completely different story for the Ryder Cup. And if the Broncos had starting QB, I think there's at least 6 wins on the table there that we comfortably bring back. But honestly, like the weekend, like it was good. Like, I really love being able to spend time with rival teams, Smoke, Cardiff, Redden, and it was a way more relaxed situation. Like at finals, there's death stares across the pitch. You know, like we are all locked in. We all know what we are fighting for, and we are in each other's way. Like, regardless of what happens after the final whistle. Like, if I play Matt and Hurricanes beat Hornets, like the handshake lines get done, each team goes back and do the debrief. The first thing we're going to do is go over and give each other a big hug, regardless of the outcome. But I was able to do that during a game, although Matt wasn't there. Like, me and Manny we were just jokes like pretty much the full time. You know, like it was nice. Like being able to chat to Henry on my way back to the huddle. I like that. It was nice. It's nice to see these people as friends instead of people that are in my way to a gold medal.
I think that's kind of like there was a few questions around in advance, like, is it going to be streamed and all that kind of stuff. And you would probably dynamically decide who plays on which pitch in that scenario. And had that been happening this weekend, Sunday every game would have been teams that are within a win of the relegation zone. Like, and that's how you would done. That's how you would do it, because that's where, like, what Matt said was saying earlier on, like that's where the urgency was, and that's where the jeopardy was. Like, you know, I think I wasn't there, but like obviously Aberdeen posted it on Instagram earlier on Friday. You know, they beat Chichester on the Hail Mary, right?
Sorry, Aaron Drummond playing receiver. Like, my mind couldn't comprehend that.
Right?
Like, great catch.
Yeah, but they lose that game. Like, if Aberdeen were 1 loss less on the whole season, and the 5 and 11 table, they are last. So like they would have been relegated. So like they get the Hail Mary there, they get the safety herd around the league in League One, in Week 1, right? That's a win that no one expected, right?
Yeah,
has probably kept us up. That
our charity work is done.
So, and then obviously the Neptunes game was obviously a bit different. They were kind of probably clearer in that one. But yeah, like one Hail Mary.
what you've just said actually made me recant my previous statement. Like seeing the Drummond touchdown to win the game,
mental.
Seeing how Quigley, how annoyed he was at his other safety. Like Quigley is not a very tall person, but seeing him still jump up, last play of the game, fight for the ball against the second tallest person of the current Aberdeen squad. Like, seeing what it means to teams.
When the tallest one was actually behind him as well. So yeah, it was kind of overloaded that front side. Yeah, and obviously like being at home and being remote and like getting fed them, and like massive shout out to Paul from the competition committee for like being able to feed results and work out the standings. Me and him were doing that together while he was there on the day in order to like post them out round by round.
And while we're on the point of
very cool,
thank you to Bez for his efforts while me and Matt were off gallivanting playing flag. Like everybody got kept up to date. I know a few people in the Discord were saying thank you, but from us as well, it does mean a lot.
Obviously I would have rather have been there by far,
of course.
But yeah, it was fun, and like kind of it's try to do it the way that I thought I would have liked to have seen it. You know, like if that kind of thing was happening on like on Live Score or Flash Score, whatever they are on BBC Sport, whatever. They like in the World Cup when there was like 6 games on in a day and they update live. The standings update live. I was just like, we could do that for flag. Like that's easy enough. The spreadsheet does it for us, and we just head to head it. So like we should just do it. And yeah, Paul was game. So I think Joe was firing scores into Paul from on the Saturday with the 2 venues, and then we were getting them out, and and then the rankings were getting done, and yeah, it was cool because like at one point, so over the course of the weekend, I think at any given point, the Outlaws, the Crows, the Tunes, the Fire, and the Titans were all in the relegation zone for at least an hour.
Wow.
Right, and then results got them out or dropped them down depending on how it all went. And yeah, I guess we should probably touch on the Crows. Unfortunately, falling down, and I say unfortunately because it's unfortunate any team has to get relegated, but that's sport. That's the way it is. But
the curse of the Kirkcaldy
if
Cup.
you had said on day one, at the end of week 1 when they were 3-0 that they would only win 2 more games the rest of the season, like it's mental. Like I think that has been the biggest surprise. I think of all the teams that people thought were potentially going down, one of the most common things people have said to me was like, I can't believe it was the Crows.
It's like it's just crazy. You can break it down into like specific, like the Manchester away game day that we had through the season, game day 3, I think it was, maybe 4, can't remember, whatever it was. Like they are a receiver putting a toe out of bounds to then getting to retake an XP, which doesn't put them in that scenario.
Yep.
Like the margins are, we talk about this being a game of inches.
For sure, and probably every team down there like has that. Like we look at Edinburgh. Edinburgh went on that day and beat both Manchester teams, and we were like, what the hell? Maybe they're back. And then they get one more game against Aberdeen, and that's it for them. And like I mentioned before, like Aberdeen, they beat Glasgow by a point, and they're staved off relegation by 1 single win. Fire, man. Like we barely touched on them in the whole night. Like rock bottom for 4 weeks of the season, and then
Fire
super weekend
like flipped halfway through the year, and they just started putting it together. I don't know whether it was just like as sport goes and just development and putting things together as the season goes on across games, but they just started playing better. They were maybe a bit more methodical. I don't know what it was. They were just being smarter. I think they weren't being as errant with the ball, just flinging it everywhere, trying to go for kill shots. I think they kind of slowed it down, were smarter about it, and they won.
100%.
Like, and that's what's got them out of it. They've really improved over this season, and from being we were talking about them and the Tunes kind of being dead in the water on their own, like floating away, and to bring it both of them, and shout out to the Tunes too, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but like for them to both bring it back quite impressively is amazing.
Yeah. And like full on credit where it's due. And I think I spoke about, I can't remember if it was in my monologue or maybe earlier in the season. I think you and I spoke about it, Cammy. I can't remember if it was on a show or not, that midpoint through the season, the Fire offense would have been ranked like second in the North or something, but their defense was just, they were,
Bleeding.
or maybe not defense, I don't know, because I obviously wasn't there at the South games, but like points against was costing them games. Whereas, so they were like, I feel like going in, they like the North teams, they should have known that they were a threat. That being said, what a weekend! Reeling off 4 wins over the course of the weekend is is, you know, and again, that win that we all thought was a massive shock over Reading has kept them out, has kept them up.
Totally. It's something I do want to touch on them with is like, so obviously I said earlier, we were talking about Div 1 or Prem, like we were going into that game being like, we could lose this. Like they're coming off a heater. We've not had a great weekend. If they beat us, not surprised. Fine. But regardless, like I think we won by 3 scores. It was quite comfortable. But through the whole thing, I'm very sorry. I don't even know if he listens or not, but I believe it's the captain of the defence, the person that called the defence. He was nothing but positive the whole time. Like we started throwing out a few different things and changing it up, and we were quite comfortable. I don't think there was any point where we ever thought we need to put our foot to the floor here. But regardless of the outcome of any play, he was always rallying his defence and saying, right, next one, boys, let's go. Next one up. Well done. You done this really well. We done that really well. Let's watch out for this next time. Like, it's just, I know they've got a big squad and they've got people that they can rotate in, but like having somebody on your team with that mentality that can keep you ticking over, like, I think that's incredible. So
you just meant, like, Bez just mentioned the Reading game, and I remember hearing that I think they were 10 points up at the half, and then they went 10 points down with the ball, went down and scored, managed to pick it, and then went down the field and then scored again. If you're a team that's been bottom for the majority and losing a lot of games, you could easily just give up and be down and out there. But they've, like we're saying with their improvements, they've just put 2 really great drives together after just losing a 10-point lead and won a game. That's the mentality that you've just mentioned that's got them kept their national state.
Yeah, like for sure. And yeah, like every team, I think we could probably say something similar about that, you know, like, yeah, like one win between 6th and 11th at the end of the year. Like, if I understand that, like, you know, that means that half the league are under 500, right? But to be honest, I don't care, because it's not like the top, okay, other than London, who have run away with it, fine. In the regular season, they have run away with it. But it's not like no one's beating no one else. It's not like the top 4 and then everyone else is feeding on each other. Like, anyone can get any, like, you know, the Hornets got by the Titans, you know, who finished further, you know, for, you know, bottom half of the table. Glasgow, as we've mentioned once or twice in the show, got by Aberdeen. As you know, like Reading got by, as we've just mentioned, got by the Fire. Like, it's class.
Something I did want to touch on maybe is I don't think upsets are upsets anymore. I think we are finally seeing a product where we have a bunch of teams that can compete with each other. Like Titans, we only beat them by a score. Manchester almost had us. You know, like we are the national champions. We've got teams chapping on our door, which is something that we want. And I know it's the first, like, things are going to change next season, and this is forever developing. But this is what we want. I don't want to be in a league where I'm blowing teams out double mercy every other week, and then it's a tight-ish cross-conference. Like, this is what we want. And on that, I would like to ask both of you a question. Bez from far away, Matt from your Sunday, if you had to pick a team of the weekend, regardless of where they finished, somebody you thought performed admirably across from what you've seen. There's only one team in it for me.
I mean, I think, like, the Fire is the easy choice, and because we've just done a segment on them, I'm going to park them.
I'm not going Fire.
So I'm going to park them, but I think because of what we've spoken about, I think for me the Fire, like, exceptional. I actually think that with who they had and the standards that they have, and to be in games and fighting it, even though they were 0-6, I think, like, Grangemouth deserve a lot of credit for what they put down over the course of the weekend, because, like if you as
They almost
Aberdeen,
did.
right?
They had the ball to finish the Kings game.
Right. As Aberdeen, if you'd said to me that like, right, you guys have to go into Super Weekend without Scott, like
Sorry.
like you'd like that would be an intimidating prospect. But they cracked on and they got on with it. And like, yeah, okay, people are going to look back and say, oh, but Bez, they were 0-6. And like, it doesn't. It's the between the ears of that, which I just think is really impressive of them. So for them, it's an out there pick, but it's based off of kind of like
from seeing them both days,
heart and grit rather than results on the field.
Yeah, from seeing them both days, I don't think that's a bad shout at all. Porque?
You mentioned like as in the performance before I mention what I say, because I think Bez has nailed it there. You were talking about games in the national and how they're not gimmies anymore. Like the reason we lost that Crows game, because I will touch on it, is because we had the ball to start, we gave it away, and then they just made us trail for the entire game. And they played beautifully. And that was going to be a shout out to me. I know, obviously, unfortunately, it wasn't enough to keep them up. But all these teams, if you give them a chance, will just beat you because they are in the national for a reason. So I just want to give that a shout out. I think just the tunes, the way they just grab it by the neck and drag them. So I know we're us personally are giving Ash his flowers, but that's so impressive. What they've been trying to do and what they've been building and just seeing the way they've grinded it out and turned it around. We gave all the props to the Fire. It's the same with the Neptunes. And we talk about not gimmies. They're not a gimme team. They will be. They ran us close both times this year.
They did indeed.
So it's just props to them. I think that's going to be my shout, is just going into a weekend where you know your position and you just play up and just ruin other people's weekends for sure and get out and make a hell of a story is beautiful.
Tunes were going to be my pick. Massive respect to them for the way they approached the entire weekend, and then how, especially when, like, on the Saturday and how they turned around on the Sunday. Yeah, massive well done to them.
Yeah, and I think obviously, like, we probably shouldn't go much further as well, and we'll leave the closing thought with the winners of the regular season, 16. The London Smoke. They knew exactly what they had to do, and they did it efficiently. They
certainly did.
Like, they just came in and, like, there was the interview that they did with Baffa where Jam, I think he'd said, like, we're an elite team and we're looking forward to elite competition. I'm not sure. I'm not judging by some of the scorelines. I'm not sure they got it every game, but
I'll address what Frost said as well. He said taking scalps, and scalps were taken.
Yes, they absolutely were.
They were a ferocious beast to play against. It was a really fun game. We got fucking mollywopped, but you know what? I still enjoyed it. It was still fun.
We always reference the meme, and I won't go into specifics, but it, getting the whisper in the ear, and it just suddenly the flooding of news just across was like, the Smoke did what to the Hornets?
The number of people that text me were like, did you just typo? And I was like, absolutely not.
Yep.
Like, I know I make typos, but trust me, that one I checked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did I post it? I can't remember. Did I post the 3 Dragons meme publicly? No, I put it in the Discord, didn't I? Yeah. Maybe I'll put that out because that one brought me a little bit of joy.
Context.
I can't get away from discussing that, but like everything they'd done was extremely efficient. Like from the sideline to the players on the pitch, they were one of the most professional outfits that I've seen on a flag pitch, and we fully deserved the belt that we got. So I'm looking forward to the rematch if we get there. It was a fun game. It was a bit of a sour one to start your Saturday on. Well, second game, but yeah, well done.
Yeah,
congratulations on another phenomenal season.
Yeah, good team. Good team. 16-0 on their way to Coventry. And when we get there, the London Smoke will take on the Reading Devils, while the Hornets will take on the Hurricanes for the right to fight for a national championship. But before we get there, of course, we do have, as we spoke about, Division 1 and Premiership playoffs. And then next week, the build-up begins. It's World Championship season.
What?
And we're going to be bringing you an awful lot of coverage. And we'll be back next week with our World Championships preview, at least one World Championships preview show, followed by a whole load of other exciting things for you on social media. So make sure you are paying attention, especially on Monday, and we'll see you then. Until then, Goodbye from Cammy.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Burke.
Goodbye.
And it is goodbye from me. Thank you very much for listening. That is the way we HN see it.